Hey everybody, today is 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, September 19th, 2018. Okay, so here we are on CoinMarketCap, top 100 cryptocurrency pairs, lots of green, as you can see here in the 24-hour move. As I've shown you before in a previous video, this video is pretty well, website's irrelevant when you look at this recent script that I've written. You can see here that all the majors are down, actually 3 of the 2. So I'll just call it a negative day. And just wanted to show you, we have the current script running, the system if you want to call it that. Let me show you the panel as it stands. I'll show you the actual. So right here, it was started roughly around 16:57 today, 5 o'clock. It's been running now for, let's say, close to 5-6 hours. I'll show you here that the system did get some nice moves. These two here and these two here. So when you look at everything, this is what we're referring to. Which the good ones were here, 2.21%, and that was, as I said, roughly 1950 today, this evening, and the other two were these ones at 2034. That's when they closed. So these are up 1.44%. So those are pretty good. So what I've done is I've netted out the overall rate of change on all these positions. We're up 5.95%, which is pretty strong. But as I said in yesterday's video, you will need to expect to take these little tiny hits to get these bigger ones and be patient, depending upon what is happening in the market. So that's pretty good considering the market has been down for a while. Now, I'm going to show you, you may have not seen this in the last while, but I am now running my original strategy that generates buying signals with all the technical indicators and charts. This was generated at 21:07 this evening. Let me just compare that to those profitable positions. So this is at 1950. This was run a little bit after, and these are the signals that we ran. These are the most higher probable that will do okay. Now the big thing we need to factor in is volume is a huge driver for this level of success. And if you look at the overall watch list of my database that's active, we showed you this on the risk on, as well as the number of positions that we have are 46 that are being watched as we speak. But before it takes on the position, it checks on the hourly volume. And if it's not at a certain criteria, it won't take the trade. There's a lot of other indicators I've never really talked about that won't take the trade. But the point is, you have to, in order to succeed at this, you have to be willing to take on these tiny, tiny losses. So like as I said, this is down 0.2%, 0.6%, down 0.16%, and 2.21%. So this is an overall percentage. Okay, and when you look at these buying signals, we have Theta Ethereum, CMT BNB, CMT BTC, and Steam Ethereum. They have to meet, as I said, a certain level of volume. So here we have the volume here listed out for the entire group of these 4 pairs. So that's the group volume as well as the group mean on the overall average of the moves. So when you factor in this one, but I'll only look at, but what you'll see here is we've got listed 2 CMT BNB as part of those positions. So the big one that moved kind of nice, two of them at 2.21% was CMT BTC, and we have that listed right here at the third spot. So if I break out the charts, which I will do, we have here, now there's a couple of things we can check before we do this. We have the standard deviation on this particular pair and the volume. And when you factor in and compare it against the group, this is important to understand which one's more volatile and which one has the more or higher volume. That's why I do this comparison. Okay, so let me just make sure we capture that. Go back to our right here. So if I did this, we can clearly see that this particular pair, CMT BTC, is more volatile than the group volatility, and the volume actually is a lot higher than the group volume. So those are two things you need to consider before they take on positions. So the reason I'm stating this is when you go back to the group description here, let's go back here to the beginning. Okay, so if you go back here to the beginning, you'll notice here there's these three other pairs. So we have Theta Ethereum or Theta Ether, CMT BNB, and Steam Ethereum or Ether. So this one I've seen positions take on because it meets the volume levels. This one I don't think you'll see a whole lot because it's BNB, and rarely do I see an actual trade that meets a certain volume because BNB is very, very low on Binance. So that's a Binance coin. This one I've seen as well, but the one that was very profitable was this one. So as I said, let's check out the indicators. So if you've never seen this before, this is what you can expect from each of these buy signals. So as I said, we can compare the standard deviation for volatility to say this is more volatile than the group. This one has more volume. And here is our price less than the golden range? So that means, is it within value? So let's check it out. So this is the overall moving average classic cross signals. So you can see here we have a buy signal. This is daily. Okay, so we're now entering into a buy signal. We have a slight trend up. Here's the other thing: is the Fibonacci's on the daily. It's very tight because it doesn't open up on the different level Fibonacci levels. So you'll see that here with the stats. This is important as well because this is the overall daily returns. You can see here it concentrates on the negative side. But to confirm things that are really important in terms of things like this is the head and shoulders here. And you can clearly see what's going on is we've got, I won't call this a real classic head and shoulders because it's not even, where we've got the head, the neckline here. And usually what we're looking for is the widest point between the neckline and here, and then this neckline. This should be the same move. So that's supposed to be the expected move. And you can see that in the swings that I talked about because it's more volatile, being at 0.12 versus the group of 0.09. Here's another indicator that's very useful. I've talked about this numerous times on my YouTube channel. The candlesticks. I'm only using a certain amount. But here we got a Marabuzu, which is pretty reliable. Okay, so we have, today is the 19th. We have two Marabuzus at one today at 20 o'clock at 20. So let's see, when do we take on that trade? Okay, so we took it at 1950. So It's not accurate 100%, but I mean, considering you have everything not being 100% and somewhat delayed. And I would expect that because it sees the bullish signal at 20 o'clock, but the actual opportunity was 10 minutes prior. Okay. And I've also talked about that these positions are not very long. These opportunities of these kind of upswings that meet all these criteria that can actually be somewhat profitable last, I wouldn't even say more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, not very long. And you got to be in and out for that. And the only way, obviously, to do that is through automation. So it did catch this quite correctly. Now, obviously, I don't have a record of a Marabuzu from last night, but if it's screaming bullish for a Marabuzu, that can be looked upon as being reliable. Now, the other thing that is important to understand here is what we're dealing with in terms of the Fibonacci levels. So you can clearly see this is on a daily time frame. Look back is over 30 days. And you can see here is that these are the trend lines, the upper and lower bound, and usually everything moves in threes. So if you were to look at this, there'd be 1, 2, 3 on the downside, but when you kind of, it's hard to determine, but right here is an entry point on when to go in. But you really can't really do traditional classic technical trading with this kind of move because this particular pair moves so fast, and it's really hard to calculate that. So this will be very useful to understand what's on the move, and maybe if you don't have the capabilities to watch this in an automated way, you can definitely shorten down your list by only watching the 4 pairs that I list, with one of them getting some nice swings and nice moves. Okay, so it's still undervalued, and it just bounces around, but you can clearly see there was an opportunity here, which happened and has been confirmed to make money. All right, so here's the moving averages, and this is really tough to say. Here we could tell, and this is why they use the RSI, because these are usually pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Now, this is 1-day data, so we have a tiny amount of momentum. Things on the RSI front usually take place once they hit the 70 range. So we'll break it down into smaller data timelines. So again, this is daily. We are looking at a 90-day look back. Not much significance there, but this is where it gets kind of exciting. When you look at the overall daily trading on the 30-day, you could see we were starting to get some nice, very nice moves here. Based on the candlesticks that I referred to earlier, you can clearly see that this thing may be on the up move. And again, I can't guarantee that, but again, it is over 50 in the 60 range, and it may be on the move, and you can clearly see that it is. And it had a nice up move yesterday, and we're just starting to track this today, so I might have been able to capture some of this last night and captured this tonight. And that's pretty well it. And these are the typical indicators that you could find on this chart. And I'm going to be making this available. I'm still trying to figure out how often I can generate this. If it's every 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours. Obviously, the more frequent it is, the more valuable it is to people. but it can clearly filter out the ones that are potentially going to move with these kind of signals. And now I have the capabilities to confirm that with a watch list and actual positions, as well as they've been taken on exactly with some. So on this list at the beginning here, you can clearly see there was a theta Ethereum, but it was theta BTC that moved, but it was slightly of a loss. And again, you need to have really tight conditions to prevent big losses at these, because I bet you if I look at this one, let me just grab the group volatility and mean again. Okay, so we want that, and we are looking for theta Ethereum. Okay, so as I did before, here we can see a few things. Group volatility is 0.09, so actually theta Ethereum is less volatile than the group. So that means that the opportunities may not be there as much. The volume, it's not as strong as the other one. So again, that lowers the likelihood of it. So there's little factors that you can look for to figure out what chances are of these moves actually happening. And again, you can just go through the charts as well and understand how things are. You can see here, this theta Ethereum has some pretty nice tail risk on the positive side, on the right side. And I've seen these moves again. This is a very good way to confirm that this actually is working. We have our theta Ethereum above, and usually this head and shoulder seems to work pretty nice. But here we are getting a bearish signal tonight. And if I was to confirm it against the positions, or let's say theta BTC versus theta Ethereum, I guess you can confirm that, yeah, we did take a loss on that. And again, here, classic wedge moves here along this time period. I'll be refining all these targets right along here, because this right here is for human traders or discretionary traders. Will be able to use these points as entries into the market based upon how things look. But I got to work on that. And again, here's the problem with this pair: up down, you know. So you got to really know how to time this properly. But this was as you can see, a very nice move. Let me just see it. And I have seen these do quite well as well. So be aware of this. And these are the confirmed moving pairs right now on Binance. So take note, and that's what my system will report every X hours to be determined. Hopefully you'll find this pretty useful. Talk to you later.